What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
What's up, everybody? Magic just threw in a little surprise for us there to open the show. Neither one, you or I, knew that was coming. But the Associated Press, you still think they're full of shit, Papa Dude?
Oh, yeah, definitely. By the way, Purdue got beat 30-13, so that just solidified what I said.
I got to tell you, Magic snuck that in there. I had no idea it was coming, and I didn't open the show. I thought, what is going on right now? So gotta give Magic the shout out for that. That was great. That was great. He's in the background right now, dying laughing. So, hey, this is the shout out show, right?
Yeah.
So can I give a shout out real quick before we start?
You're the boss. Go.
Okay. Well, you're the one who usually gives the shout outs.
I don't have one.
I don't know if Ed Gagnon watches the show or not, but he is a avid listener to all the horse side of it, whether it be Magic Mike, the racing dudes, buys the product. Very, very great customer of ours. He just hit the pick 5 at Indiana Grand using our picks today for $5,700. He just tweeted out the ticket on on Twitter. So congratulations to Ed. Really, really nice guy. He's been a fan of ours for a long time. And man, $5,700 today at Indiana Grand. That's a hell of a Monday, Papa Dude.
That's not too bad. And Ed, I got some advice for you. Don't try it anymore. Never hit another one. Take your $5,700 and enjoy it, and just know that you did something not very many people do.
I promise you, Ed will be firing away tomorrow. That I can promise you. He is a big time gambler and a really, really good guy. So just wanted to congratulate him. He just tweeted it right when we went on the air. So I wanted to give him a big shout out.
Good stuff.
I know, it's awesome, man. That smiles from ear to ear that we can help somebody cash like that. That's always really, really good. So very, very excited. All right, Papa Dude, we're going to get into what we're covering today. The thing I love about the Monday night shows at 6 p.m. is we can lead you right into Monday Night Football. So we'll hop into this game real quick, the game that'll start here in about an hour. It's the Saints and the Seahawks. Seahawks still holding as a 5-point underdog here. What do you think, Papa Dude? I know the Seahawks, you were high on them on Thursday. Are you still sticking with them tonight?
I am. I think they're desperate. It's Monday night. They're at home. Not high on New Orleans. So, yeah, I like the line a lot. I really do. I think they're going to play a great game. I guess the line is probably because Wilson didn't play it.
Yeah.
So I thought Geno Smith played pretty good in the second half against Pittsburgh the other night. I think that's a sign that, he's starting to get the feel of things. I think they're going to play great tonight, don't you?
I do. I would be surprised if Seattle doesn't play a good game. We kind of talked about it on Thursday. A lot of people think they're done. I just don't think so. It's a Monday night game. They're playing an opponent that's, I don't know, iffy, I guess, would be how you want to call the Saints. Sometimes they look good. Sometimes they do not. I think they play well enough to cover the 5 points. I would love to give you a team total pick here because we did pretty well last week. If you listen to the show, those team totals did well. We'll talk about that a little bit more on Thursday. I don't really like either one of these teams for the team total, though. I think that New Orleans was like 23.5. I don't know. That's going to be real close, I think. And then Seattle was 19.5. I think that'll be real close too. So I'm not gonna give a team total tonight. I just think it's gonna be tough. But I will take Seattle plus the 5. It's Geno versus Jameis. Not the most intriguing matchup, but we got nothing else on. Mark says.
We got hockey here.
Well, that's true. We do have the Blues and the Kings tonight, and the Blues still undefeated. They beat the Kings over the weekend, so that was good. And Russ, I totally agree. We do not advertise quitting gambling on this show, Papa Dude. Come on. What's the matter with you?
Well, I just, you had to pick 5. I don't know what there is left.
Yeah, I know. I need to retire after that, right?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
man. Well, here's the deal. The title of this show is OU almost lost to Kansas, and Papa Dude is pissed. But I'm going to make Papa Dude do the NFL first, and then we'll get to college football.
That's
See if we can get
probably
him
a good
riled up
idea.
before we get to that OU game. So let's start it off right here with this Thursday night football game. We kind of talked about it. We kind of thought the Browns might sneak it out. You went with the Browns under the team total, which happened. They still get the win 17-14 over the Broncos. On the surface, you look at this and go, that is a terrible game.
Mhm.
But in reality, with all the injuries, I thought this was a big win for the Browns.
Oh, it was a huge win and shows you what they're made of.
Yep.
And they got an unbelievable performance out of their third string running back. Well, I can't think of his name, DeForest or something, Johnson, I think.
Yeah, you got it.
Wow. He was unbelievable.
Yep.
And some people probably thinking, why wasn't he playing in the first place? Well, the 2 guys ahead of him are very, very good. Yeah, that was the perfect game for us.
Mm-hmm.
You picked the Browns to win, and I said under whatever they were supposed to score. We hit both of them. I remember I texted you, it was about 3 minutes ago, and I said, just end this game right now. We've got it right where we want it. And, yeah, it kept the Browns in the hunt. And Keenum was okay. He was okay. He is what he is.
Yeah.
And they're lucky to have a guy like that can come in there and play. Now they got to get Mayfield back and get some guys back. And they got a big one this week against the Steelers. But that was a huge win for them. And how bad is Denver?
Oh, they're really bad because the Browns were begging to get beat in that game. And I think you described it well. Keenum was okay. He wasn't – honestly, he wasn't quite as good as what I thought he would be in that game.
Well, the first drive, they went right down the field.
Yep.
After that, they didn't do anything. So.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. And listen, Jarvis Landry made a huge difference. He was the difference, I think, offensively, but he also got hurt at the end of the game. So
I know.
We'll see. We'll talk about that more on Thursday. Kind of a snoozer here. I don't know if you followed this game much. The Packers beat Washington 24-10. It kind of just seemed like the Packers toyed within the whole game. They're just so much better, and Washington is really bad. We won't talk much about this one, but this one we will talk a lot about, or at least a little bit about. Tennessee 27, Kansas City 3. Kansas City does not score a touchdown in this game. I don't think we're shocked that Tennessee won. I think obviously we both took Tennessee to win this game last week, but how shocked were you just how bad the Chiefs played?
I'm totally shocked at what's going on. Remember back when we were doing our over-unders on how many games they were going to win, Vegas had Kansas City at 12.5, and we're both sitting there going, how in the world could they do that? Well, we got that figured out now, don't we?
Yeah.
I don't think they thought it was going to happen like this, though. And this was a game that I thought they would lose before the season ever started because Tennessee runs the football. They can eat clock, shorten the game. They're good. And I thought they would beat them, and this would be one of the games they would lose, but not like this.
Yeah.
And, the Chiefs, you hit the nail on the head a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. They're not very good anywhere else with the quarterback. Yeah. And the quarterback's average at best right now. And all of the flaws that they have are being exposed because, as I wrote in an article, they got to have him play like Superman, and he ain't playing like Superman right now. He's playing like, average quarterback in the NFL. And, I looked up some statistics today, and the bottom line is the Chiefs are minus 10 in turnover margin. Well, you can't hardly get away with that anytime. But when your defense sucks and you can't stop anybody and you're minus 10 in the turnover ratio, you're not going to win games. I don't care how Mahomes is playing. They're still not going to win games. And he's taking all the heat, and he's not playing well, and he admits it. He's struggling with the way the defenses are playing the Chiefs. The other thing is they can't run the ball.
Yep.
They don't have a running back that's that good. They may ought to make a trade for Cleveland's third string running back. That just came to me. Maybe they ought to do that. Trade one of them worthless offensive linemen that they think are so good, and that might be what they need to do. But they're in some trouble. The other interesting stat in the Super Bowl years, that's the last 2 years, Mahomes had 11 total interceptions in those 2 years. That's 11 in about 40 games, roughly, almost 40 games. Turn it over 11 times, or he intercepted 11 times. He has 9 already this year. 9. I don't know this, but I bet you that's more than any quarterback in the NFL right now.
I don't know that for sure. I do know he also has 3 fumbles, so he's actually turned the ball over 12 times.
Yeah.
And, to me, he just looks really, really confused. He goes back there, and it used to be, man, he's just slinging it all over the place. He goes back now, and it's like, I don't know where to throw the ball. I don't know where to go with it. I mean, I don't know. Is this guy open? Is this guy open? And then all of a sudden, it's a sack. And all of a sudden, he's scrambling. If you look at the amount of times he's ran the ball this year, it's almost as much as he did all year last year, which kind of tells me it's breaking down. Either nobody's open or he can't find him, and he's out of the pocket. He's running. And that's why the fumbles are coming up. I don't care who the quarterback is. When they get out of that pocket in the NFL, there's a good chance they're going to fumble if they get hit. They all do it, and he's no exception.
And I think he's pressing. I think he's trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Instead of letting the game come to him, he's trying to make the big play and trying to do too much. Let me ask you this. Is that $50 million contract weighing heavy on his mind a little bit? Does that put extra pressure on him?
I think it could be part of it. I definitely do. I don't think he's the type of guy that, okay, I got the big contract, so I'm not concentrating or anything like that. I don't think it's that. But the pressure is different, I think, when you know you're getting paid that. I think it could be part of it. Yeah. I think the bigger part of it is kind of what you touched on. I think they kind of got exposed as an offense. I'm not talking about him, but as an offense in general last year in the Super Bowl. And I think teams are kind of mimicking what Tampa did. And all of a sudden, they can't move the ball very well.
Right.
And I think
– go ahead.
Well, listen, the last thought on him, he's had 3 years of absolute brilliance that nobody will ever be able to take away from him.
No.
Seems like the defenses have adjusted to be an absolute, Hall of Fame type of player. Now you have to adjust to what you're seeing. That's his challenge. That's their challenge the rest of the year. Their defense is trash. It's not going to get any better. No. The offense can get better and should. Right. We'll see if it can. That's going to be a really interesting thing to kind of follow.
Yeah, and it's the defense. That's a huge part of the problem. They just can't stop anybody. Now they got the Giants this week in Kansas City. Now if they lose that one, then they got problems.
If they lose that one, Chad Henne might be the quarterback the rest of the year.
That's true. Yeah. No, he's not. Not when you're paying somebody $50 million.
This is true, and it's just a situation that offensively they're going to have to get it figured out. They are a lot like a team we'll talk about in the college ranks a little bit later.
And I want to make one thing perfectly clear: I don't blame Patrick Mahomes for making $50 million a year.
No,
I've always said that. Everybody goes, "Golly, he's making $50 million." Well, not Patrick Mahomes' fault. Are you going to tell somebody, "No, I don't want that kind of money. I'm not worth it"? Of course not. Yeah. It's not his fault. Somebody's stupid enough to pay him that. And,
Well, and listen, if it wasn't the Chiefs, it would have been somebody else. That's
exactly absolutely right.
That's just what the market is for a quarterback like that. And again, I don't think it's really that. I think teams have kind of figured out how to stop them, figured out how to slow them down, and now they can't make big plays down the field. They don't have a running game, and you force them into smaller pockets and smaller spaces to throw the ball into. Shit happens. So,
and isn't it funny? We texted you this yesterday. How Andy Reid, the offensive genius of all time, now just looks like me and you.
Right.
It's just funny how that works.
It's always tough when you don't have that quarterback out there just making circus plays game after game. So a couple of comments before we move on to the next one here. Mark says they have to win out to cover that 12.5 over under, and instead they'll likely miss the playoffs. I don't know if that's 100% true or not yet, Mark, but it doesn't look good. And Russ says playoffs, the whole Jim Mora thing. So
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I looked at their schedule. They got Green Bay and Dallas.
Yep.
Still to come. They're both in Kansas City. They got Pittsburgh in Kansas City. They never play Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. They play them every year, and it's always in Kansas City. I don't get that either. But those are games iffy.
They got to go to Cincinnati, like you said. That's looking like a tough game.
They got to play the Raiders twice.
Yep.
And they got to go to play the Chargers again.
Yep.
If the Raiders and the Chargers are for real, a couple more losses and they may not make the playoffs. I mean, it's possible.
It seems like they got a really tough schedule coming up. It's kind of it's a weird deal of they'll absolutely win that game type of game, or they may lose that game. There's no kind of in between there. So we'll see how it goes. But boy, it's not good there in Kansas City. All right, the Dolphins. They finally get the lead, and then they blow it at the end. Atlanta wins 30-28. New England just dominates the Jets. New England finally gets a home win. That was good to see. How about this one? The Giants beat the Panthers 25-3. The Panthers were 3-0 at one point.
Yeah.
What has happened to the Panthers?
Sam Darnold has
come down to earth.
He's playing like crap. Never been a fan. I thought there for a while because he was playing good early when they went to Dallas and got beat. I thought he played great that night.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, okay, he got out of that pressure of New York and he's down there where he settled down and can play. No, I think that's part of it. I don't know. That's a shocker. By the way, have you ever seen an NFL week with so many one-sided scores?
No.
Oh,
there wasn't a lot of interesting games all week. There really wasn't.
I think I figured it up. 6 of the games were settled by more than 20 points. The winning margin was more than 20 points.
Wow. That never happens.
No.
Well, we've had like heart-stopping games, I feel like all year. And maybe now that it's kind of just evened out.
Well, it was a bad week.
It was a bad week. And we'll talk about the game as far as the record, 2 teams' record go was the game of the week, but it didn't turn out to be on the field. How about this? The Bengals go into Baltimore and just pound the Ravens 41-17. It could have been worse. I mean, this was total domination. How shocked were you that the Ravens just like no-showed in this game?
I know, totally shocked. The Ravens had played bad every once in a while. They've had a couple of clunkers, but been playing so well and killed the Chargers the week before. And this was a pretty big game. I mean, it's a division game.
Yeah.
And, first place was on the line, and to lay an egg like that, that was a shocker. And look at the Bengals, 5-2.
I know. Their Cincinnati sits at 5-2. How about that? Joe Burrow. I'm just gushing on this guy. Every week, I'm like, this guy is good. Like, he is going to be the next big-time quarterback. But the funny thing is about that, I feel the same way about Justin Herbert. I really like him. He went to Baltimore, like you said last week. Yeah. He got the shit kicked out of him. So Joe Burrow goes in there. I was like, my guy Joe Burrow, this is going to be a tough game for him. He just goes off. He's the number 1 fantasy quarterback of the week was Joe Burrow. Thank you, Joe. I have you in the league. So
no wonder you like him so well.
Well, yeah, I drafted him and they're like, ooh, you drafted Joe Burrow. I was like, this kid is good. He's really good. Anyway, he was awesome in this game. So I mean, there you have it. The Bengals right now are in first place in that division. In a division we thought would be super tough. And I still think it's decent, not maybe as tough as we thought, but there the Bengals sit there number 1. So and Russ is right. We talked about this Thursday show. Russ says it was a bad week and there were 6 teams on a bye. And the 6 teams that were on the bye, most of them were pretty good teams that you like to watch,
Yes.
And so that hurt it too.
It really did.
Yeah. Mark says Baltimore has squeezed by in a lot of games. Is that true? I don't know how good they are. The NFC North is a mystery. Who is legit going forward? Kind of true, right? Baltimore could easily be 2-5. They've stuck by some real close games. I think for me, I thought, well, they kind of have it going now that they just killed the Chargers, and we didn't see that up and down within the game type situation. But I think we saw all the up against the Chargers and all the down against Cincinnati. It wasn't good. What about that AFC North going forward? What do you think?
Ooh, that's because what's going to happen is they're going to start knocking each other off as they go along. Cleveland's not healthy, and who knows when they're going to be healthy. But if they could get back here before long, if they beat, this is a big game this week, them in Pittsburgh. The winner of that game is going to be in good shape, and the loser of it is going to fall back some. So that's a huge game. We don't really know about the Steelers yet. We don't think they're very good. They're so classy, though. You can't count them in. They'll beat somebody they shouldn't. I still think Baltimore's the best.
Yeah.
But
even after this loss, I kind of agree. I don't think Pittsburgh's very good. I think they'll end up fading. Well, Cleveland.
That's the one we don't know.
They're just a mess. I just can't see them winning it. I think it's going to come down to Baltimore or Cincinnati.
Yep. See, what's messed this division up is we didn't think Cincinnati was going to be this good.
Yep.
And they got a win over Pittsburgh, and they got one over Baltimore that you didn't think they were going to win. So it's messed everything up with these teams that you thought were going to be pretty good.
Absolutely. And I think you could say the same about the next team we're going to talk about. The Las Vegas Raiders are now 5-2. We spent, and guys in the chat too, we included you guys with this talk about this game because the Raiders were just a 3-point favorite. And we were like, oh my God, this is so obvious that the Raiders should cover this. And everybody was like, no, it's a trap. Don't do it. And we kind of like, it kind of feels like it. We're going to take the Raiders anyway. Well, the Raiders win and it really wasn't close. So maybe this wasn't a trap. To me, the Eagles have said the hell with the season. And the Raiders are like, okay, yeah, Gruden's gone, but we're in first place in this division right now.
Well, you know what is aggravating to me, and again, I've got a little personal thing in this because I like Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It's just him. He has nothing else. And that, the running back who they never run, he got hurt, I heard today in this game. So they're going to go about 4-13, and it's all going to be his fault. Mm-hmm. And it's ridiculous. He's going to have unbelievable statistics because he has to do everything.
Well, and let me be clear. I'm not as big a Jalen Hurts fan as you, but I don't have anything against him. I like him. I think he's a really, really good guy. I think he's tough as nails. This is ridiculous what they've done to him. And then he's still short. He's already shorthanded. And then you trade Ertz, who was his best target. It's ridiculous. They have set him up to fail in Philadelphia. And you're right. There's a lot of people, not people that listen to this show, and not me and you, Magic, but a lot of people out there will blame it all on him at the end of the year when they win 3 or 4 games.
Well, the quarterback always gets the blame, know, and it's dumb. But by the way, Magic, I think Detroit has a huge chance to win this week.
Okay, now let's move on to why you might think that.
No, that's not why I think it, but
Detroit was a huge underdog going to LA to take on the Rams. And you know what? They battled. It was close for a long time. The Rams had to score a lot of points late in this fourth quarter to win. They do get the job done, 28-19. But yeah, the Lions fought, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And would this have been the most embarrassing loss? I shouldn't say this. I'm just going to say this because of Magic. Would this have been the most embarrassing loss in Los Angeles Rams history?
Oh, I don't know. They've got a lot of embarrassing losses.
I know they do. And again, here's what we see so often. You got the Rams. They're rolling. They're playing great. In comes Detroit. They're not ready for them.
Yep.
And Detroit goes out there and plays great.
Yep.
I kind of think they're going to beat the Eagles this week. It's in Detroit. This is their week.
I mean, listen, the Eagles, like Russ said just a minute ago, and we wholeheartedly agree, they're obviously tanking and just bullshit moves by the Eagles. And Mark says he thinks the Lions the best winless team in years.
They may be.
I kind of agree because they've had a chance to beat Baltimore. Well, not even a chance. They should have beaten
screwed out of that game.
Yes. And Tucker still has to kick a field goal that sets a record to beat them. So they had that game won. They had another game won.
Minnesota.
Yes. They had this game not won, but they were in the game. And these are good teams. Minnesota's a team we think could make the playoffs. Obviously, the Rams are going to, unless something just totally falls apart and makes the playoffs. We think the Ravens still have a shot to win their division.
Yeah.
These are good teams. Now they play a shitty team. They need to win.
Yes, they do. This is their chance. And because they got the Eagles right where they want them. This is a huge game for them. Huge.
Yeah, I hope they get the job done for
do
Magic.
too.
We're all just here you go. Magic said, "Love the huge aggression early from the Lions. Didn't last long enough. Why does that sound familiar? But at least they're trying to do whatever they can to win or get a spark." So there's your weekly Magic thoughts on the Lions. So we'll see if week what is next week? Week 8 or 7?
Week 8. It's
week 8. We'll see if week 8 is the Magic week for the Lions. All right, let's move on though to my team. Well, sort of my second team. Browns are my first team. I'll admit that. But my second team, Arizona, they're now 7-0. And listen, took care of business, 31-5. This game was never in doubt. I think the Texans are the worst team. I think they're way worse.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. Talk about a team that's tanked it.
Yeah.
And by the way, do you see where old Deshaun Watson, where's he going? The Dolphins?
Well, that's the rumor. I don't know if that's official yet.
Yeah, that's a good quality person you want leading your team, don't you think?
I am shocked. Somebody.
I
read that. I was like, what? Why is anybody talking to this guy? It's crazy.
But here's the Cardinals. What impressed me about them, and I don't know what Houston's doing right now, but they didn't have a letdown. They just methodically beat the crap out of them. And that's what you're supposed to do when you're a good team.
Yep. And we will have a lot of fun talking about the Cardinals on the Thursday show because they play Thursday night against the Packers. And that is the game of the year so far in the NFL through 8 weeks. But that's going to be a big game. We'll talk about that a lot on, on Thursday. So let's move on, though. A couple more to go really uneventful. The Tampa Bay 38, Bears 3. The Bears are back to reality this week. That was horrific by them. What about this one? The Colts go to San Francisco and win. I think San Francisco's done after this.
I do too.
They didn't look good. But it's Colts. I mean, they win 30-18 here. They're in a division that's fairly weak. Can they kind of get back into things? They didn't look too bad last night.
No, and they won a real character building game the week before where they blew that game and then came back. It was them, right? They came back to Carolina and won an overtime.
Yep.
And this is after
that was Minnesota. That was Minnesota.
Okay. Well, anyway, they beat somebody last week, and it was coming off a game where they had the Ravens beat. I think it was the Ravens, and they lost in overtime. Wasn't that the Ravens they had beat that night on Monday night? I think it was.
Let's just look at this. Yes, that was the Ravens, 100%.
Yeah. So
right here.
They're showing a little bit of character. Carson Wentz played good, I thought, in the 49ers game. I didn't watch a lot of that. But I think the 49ers are done. I don't exactly know what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
I guess they're just not very good. Yeah, but the Colts play in the division with the Titans, and that's who they play this week. There's their big chance. If they can win that, they'll only be a game behind Tennessee, and suddenly they're in the hunt, and they could get on a roll depending on what their schedule is and maybe get in there as a wild card too, playing in that weak division.
The only problem is, the Titans are playing awfully well.
They are.
The only problem with the Titans is they did lose to the Jets, so they've got a clunker out there somewhere. So
this is the game for Indy. They've got to win this game.
Yeah, this will be a very interesting game because, like I said, you win this one, then you get the Jets, and then you get the Jaguars. You can really start to build something.
You win that one, you go to 4-4. You get the next two, you're 6-4.
Yep.
But then you've got the Bills and the Bucks after.
Well, I mean, listen, you're going to have tough games throughout the year. You've got a chance to get on a roll here. So we'll see what happens. Magic says, I only made one bet all weekend. I put my bankroll on Colts +4. Wish it had gone the money line.
Wow.
That's still a very good bet. It's still a
very good bet.
Russ is pointing out that, hey, don't give the Eagles too much trouble. They're trying to set up for the draft. They've got 3 top 10 picks. Yeah. Lined up here possibly, so we'll see what happens with that. But probably what'll happen the way the NFL is, they'll let Jalen Hurts go 4-13, then they'll draft a quarterback and dump him. That's probably what'll happen. Well, my deal on the Hurts thing is you shouldn't try to purposely, put your quarterback in shitty spots when they're this young. That's how you ruin one. So I don't know. It makes me mad. But anyway, we'll move on. So college football, that's enough NFL talk. I'm just going to make you wait one more game because we do need to mention the Thursday night game because we talked about it a lot. SMU took care of Tulane 55-26. You had SMU covering. I had SMU over 41.5 team total points. That was easy. Can SMU challenge Cincinnati? That's the question.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I came away from that game very impressed with them. I mean, I know Tulane, the superpower that almost beat Oklahoma and has gone 0-6 since. I mean, they're a super team, obviously. I thought they would put up a little bit better fight. The game was kind of close there for a little bit, and they faked a field goal, and they had to play. Tulane did, and it didn't work. And after that, Tana Mordecai, obviously a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler, but we chose Spencer Rattler over him. Anyway, look at those stats: 30 out of 42, 427 yards. I looked it up today because I was writing an article on him already. He has 29 touchdown passes already. 29.
Yeah.
The downside on SMU is they have not played anybody. So we don't know yet about them. But with their offense, if they can give him time, they've got great receivers. They run the ball pretty well. I think they're going to give Cincinnati a game. It's in Cincinnati. But they got a tough one this week first. SMU plays Houston this week at Houston, and they got to get by that one first. But I was very impressed with the SMU offense.
Yeah, I like SMU a lot. I'm a little worried about what their defense will look like against a good team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Now let's listen. This game at Houston's not going to be easy. Houston's only lost one. It was the first game of the year. They just flat out did not play well. They've been playing better. So that'll be a game we talk about Thursday. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Here's an interesting line too.
Okay.
Houston's a 1-point favorite in that game.
Oh no, not another Associated Press rant coming up on Thursday.
How can I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, we'll save it till Thursday because that line may change. I have a feeling it's going to.
Yeah, a lot. When we sat here last Monday, a lot of those college football games did kind of start to shift before the Thursday show that we did, and a couple didn't, and so we'll kind of talk about those as well as we go on. All right, it's time for this. Russ says, "Let's hear the Sooners talk," and Mark says, "The crazy week that was college football. No top 25 team looked good." That's kind of true, Mark, but there's one that looked worse than the others. That's Oklahoma. I'm going to start with the good news. Oklahoma won 35-23. That's the only good news. You got anything else?
I got so much, I don't even know where to start. But Mark makes a good point. No top 25 team looked good because Georgia didn't play. And that's the only top 25 team that's worth a shit in the first place. So, I mean, every other top 25 team has flaws.
Yeah.
And but none of them have as many as this bunch here that might be the most overrated team, not only in history, but in Oklahoma history. Mm-hmm. Where do we start, Aaron? I was telling Magic was on here a while ago before we started. I literally walked the floor the whole second half.
Yep.
Against Kansas. Because if we lost, and this is no lie, this would have been the worst loss in Oklahoma football history.
Ever. Yep.
There's no question about it.
Yep.
And I don't want to knock Kansas because I got a lot of respect for them. To come out and to come out and play like they did. You know, they didn't have to even show up. But that shows you what college athletes are about. There was pride on the line. Mm-hmm. And they weren't going to go out there and just roll over for this bunch of overrated superstars that aren't superstars in Oklahoma. So you got to give them a little bit of credit. But I don't even know where to start, Aaron. I don't know where to start.
Well, I'll kind of set you up on a few things. How about that? I'll kind of set it up, and then you take it from there. Kansas. Yeah. Okay, Kansas, just to set this up, they're ranked like 130th in the nation in offense and 129th in defense. This could be the worst team in the country, period. Not Power 5. They could be the worst out there, right?
Oh, well, they're top 10 in the bottom 10. That's for sure. They're number 10 in mine. Yes, I mean.
And so Kansas.
Yes.
drives the ball down the field for a touchdown, and takes up 9 minutes of the clock on the opening drive.
Yes.
How is that possible?
Well, that's anyway, coming into the game, Kansas against Big 12 teams had 31 offensive possessions against the Big 12 teams, 31 coming into the game. And they had scored 4 touchdowns in 31 possessions. And 2 of those last week were against Texas Tech in the last 2 minutes of the game when they were behind 41-0.
Yep.
All right. Against Oklahoma in 8 possessions, they scored 3 touchdowns and a field goal.
Yep.
4 out of 8 against the number 3 team in the country.
And let me go on with something else. It should have been 4 touchdowns.
Yes.
Their field goal, their guy, now it was a hold. It was the right call. But they had a guy holding that wasn't even close to the football.
No.
It was the worst hold I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Or it would have been 4. And oh, by the way, they're driving to score a touchdown again, and they fumbled the ball.
They fumbled the ball, and that was just a fluke thing too.
Yep.
So if you watch this game, Oklahoma should not have won.
No.
They shouldn't have. They got the crap beat out of them.
Yep.
Not only did they physically got the crap beat out of them.
Yep.
And I was listening to Teddy Lehman today, who's the play-by-play, the color man on the OU radio.
Yeah, former Butkus
winner. The guy knows what he's doing. He played at OU, superstar. Got drafted in the pros and got hurt, or would have had a long career in the pros. And he knows what he's talking about. And he's on a podcast, and I was listening to it today. Shocked at what he said.
Yep.
Totally shocked.
Well, he basically said they don't know how to line up.
He said the other guy on the show is Gabe Eichert, who was a lineman at OU and more recently than Teddy. And anyway, he does the offense when they analyze the OU game, and Teddy Lehman does the defense. So they watch the film and they write down notes about what they're going to say on the podcast. Well, anyway, Lehman said he watched the first half and he thought, why am I going to watch the second half? Every play is exactly the same.
Yep.
There's not going to be any difference because on every play, they're not lined up right. They don't know what they're doing. They're not communicating with each other. Nobody's making an adjustment to the formation that Kansas is putting out there.
Yep.
Now, that tells us a couple of things. Number one, they are not listening to the coaches.
Yep.
Okay. Or number two, they're not getting coached. Now, I'm not going to lay it on the coaches yet, but they got to take some credit. They have to take some blame, I mean.
Right.
If you're not getting through to the players, having coached for 40 years, it's either because they don't like you, they have no respect for you, or they've just totally tuned you out. And I've had teams like that. And so most players will listen to you if they respect you and if they like you. So the fundamental things that Teddy Lehman's talking about, I guarantee you those coaches are telling them. I mean, they're fundamental things. They're telling them. They're just not listening to them. They're not doing what they're told.
He said one thing that was just like I was walking the dog when I was listening to. It's called the Oklahoma Breakdown is the podcast. Even if you don't like OU, you can really learn a lot from these two guys. Yeah. They really know football.
They do.
And Teddy Lehman said once, he said, on a few of these plays, I didn't know if the secondary was in zone or man, and I don't think they knew it either.
Yeah.
He's like, it's just a body out there in space just floating around.
Yeah. Well, the gist of the whole thing is Oklahoma was not ready to play.
Right.
I mean, we can all agree with that. They were not ready to play. Now, some of that is to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
These kids are not stupid. They know who they're playing. And even at the high school level, they know when they're playing a team that's not very good. What we used to do when we knew we were playing a inferior team, you don't go in and say, God, these guys are good. They can do this, man. Look at, Your
Yeah.
kids look at you and say, "What are you on pot? What are you doing? They've won one game. They suck."
Yeah.
So you take them down and you sit them down, and you do this on the very first meeting you have that week of the game. And you put up on the board 0-0. That's what the score is going to be when you start.
Mhm.
And then we used to put up 42-6. And we would say, okay, it starts at 0-0. What you do through the week or through the game is going to make it 42-6.
Right.
You're going to have to make plays to get to 42-6. And you do that every single day. Now, I'll bet you the Oklahoma coaches did the same thing. I bet they did.
Yeah.
These kids are not listening to the coaches.
Well, okay. Let me hop in on this.
Okay.
If you listen to the first pod we did when we were talking about the OU season, I
Yep.
said I like Lincoln Riley. I think
Yep.
he's a good coach. I think there's a culture problem at OU. I just don't think they're ever, fully engaged in all these games. And I think they're assholes. When they took the field Saturday, I looked at Heather and said, they're acting like the biggest bunch of
Yep.
pricks I've ever seen. Said, look at the freaking quarterback. This is a true freshman quarterback out there acting like a jackass. They all were laughing, messing around. I was like, they'll play like shit the first quarter.
Yeah. Well, I had no doubt they would.
Yeah.
And it's just the big story in Oklahoma this week was, how are we going to handle Spencer Rattler?
Yeah.
Are we going to put him in a game when we get ahead 40-0, or is that an insult to him?
Right.
Well, you don't think those players aren't hearing that?
Yeah. But it's on the players to go and
It
act
is
like
on the players.
So anyway, I was pissed before the game even started. I was just like, I cannot stand when we act like this. It's awful. And we do it all too often under Lincoln Riley. We have for a long time since he's first started.
And go ahead.
Well, but all that goes away. You go out and play, you can act like an asshole. I don't really care.
Well, you can let a team go down. Okay. You come out, you're not ready.
Yeah.
And they take it down the field and score on you. You see that a lot.
It does, and I wasn't surprised by that.
No. But then you go out and you take care of business after that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And your offense gets the ball and takes it down the field, tie it up. Then you make a play on defense, you score again, and Kansas gets to thinking, well, you know what? They are better than us.
Yep.
So when you dick around and you don't do anything on offense, which they didn't.
Yep.
And it's just I don't know what they're going to do.
Even at the half, it was 10-0, and I said to you, I'm really not worried because I know how bad Kansas is, and they're going to wake up. Well, they get the ball. It was a long drive. It took too damn long, but they put together a really nice drive, and it's 10-7, and they're getting ready to kick. They kick it off to Kansas. Obviously, I thought right there they'll go 3 and out. Oh, you'll get it back. They'll score in like a minute, and this game's over. Kansas goes on like a 7-minute drive and scores.
Yeah.
It's 17-7 with 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the third quarter.
Right.
That's when I realized, no, we can't stop them, and we're going to get beat. And there were a few plays I want to point out the positives. 17-7, minute 30 to go. OU's got the ball, at 25-yard line. Lincoln Riley calls a reverse, which how you're in a position where you're in the third quarter late in the game and you got to call a reverse to spark your team. It's incredible. At Kansas, it was a play call that changed the game.
It did.
Because he broke it for about 70 yards. They score in like 30 seconds, scored in the next play or maybe the one after.
Yeah.
It's 17-14. OU gets the ball back and then takes the lead, and finally they've got it, right? Wrong. Kansas is driving down to take the lead back, and they made a bonehead play, fumble the ball. We get it back. It's 21-17. OU does nothing with it. It's a 4th and 3. They run a quarterback counter on 4th down. They had to go for it. They're at midfield, but he had to go for it. He knew he couldn't stop them. They run a quarterback counter. One lineman didn't pull. The other lineman that did pull and run the play didn't block anybody. And then the receiver is supposed to crack back and block the edge. He didn't block anybody.
They stood there.
All of a sudden, Caleb Williams versus 3 Kansas defenders behind the line of scrimmage. Remember, he's got to get 3 yards. Somehow because it's Kansas mostly, he gets by him and scores a touchdown. So there's game-saving play, number one.
Yes.
Now, you're up 28-17. You're thinking,
Right.
okay.
That's
now
when I thought we had them.
Right. You're thinking now, hey, this game's over. I mean,
Yes.
Kansas is done.
Yeah.
What, 5, 6 plays passing? Nobody was in 20 yards of guys?
I think it was all 5.
23?
Yeah. It was 5 passing plays.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Nobody within 10 yards of the receivers. It was like 7-on-7.
Yeah.
Or a scrimmage against nobody. That's
Yeah,
what it was like. It's like you're out there running dummy plays. And you don't even have a defense.
And I was just like, that's the worst I've ever seen.
It was awful. And then I'll get the last one.
Okay.
So they get it back. And they're on about the 40, right?
Yep.
Okay. Their own 40.
Yep.
They're up 28-23. There was about 3 minutes to play, maybe 3.5, something like that. Fourth down. There was never any thought of Oklahoma punting the ball. Because Lincoln Riley knew they couldn't stop them.
Nope.
If they don't make the first down and give the ball back to Kansas on the 40, or even if they punted them down to the 1-yard line, they're going to go score.
Game's over. Yep.
So he had to go for it, which in itself is a dumb call, but he had to.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't seen the play, YouTube it. Kennedy Brooks gets the ball on kind of an unimaginative play call for sure, but you're playing Kansas and you're number 3 team in the nation. You think you can make 1 yard.
Yep.
He gets stuffed, and Caleb Williams takes the ball away from Kennedy Brooks and gets the first down in a play I've never seen before.
It's the most amazing play ever. I jumped up and it was just screaming of thank God he did it, or we were going to lose. Kennedy Brooks had 3 guys on him.
Yeah.
As soon as he got the ball. And thank God Caleb Williams grabs the ball from him, rips it away.
Yeah.
I mean, but
at
the same time, I'm so happy and thrilled and like, wow, it's amazing. This kid's unbelievable. But it's like, you're trying to get a yard against Kansas and you're going to lose 3?
You had to go for it twice on 4th down in the 4th quarter against Kansas to win the game. That's unbelievable.
It's a joke. And if he doesn't make, like I said, these plays that we point out, if one of those plays weren't made, they would have lost the game. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that they are on defense, especially, they're not playing hard. They're not playing with any effort. And yes, they got some guys hurt. That's been pointed out many, many times today on Oklahoma media. Yeah. Their second and third string should beat Kansas pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because we've got a bunch of 4 stars and 3 stars and 5 stars. Kansas has got no stars on their team. The talent is not even close. So I don't know where they go yet. Riley's got the toughest job he's ever had down there right now. I don't know whether this quarterback situation is tearing him apart. I don't know. I don't think so.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you think Lincoln Riley hates Caleb Williams? Uh-oh. Oh, you froze. Hold on. You froze. Man, just when we were getting ready to ask him something good, this happens.
Don't see me.
All right, Papa Dude hopefully will join us back soon here. Looks like he has had some technical difficulties and has froze on us. I think he was going to say yes, he does hate him. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Russ, to your question, was the Big 12 protecting Oklahoma on that play? No, I mean, it ended up being a legal play. Oh, here we go. He's back on. You good?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what was the question again?
Well,
I think he hates Spencer or Williams.
Yes.
I don't know. Now, I think he is so afraid that Rattler is going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you want him anyway?
Yeah.
If he's that fragile and he can't take this, then get him the hell out of there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think of, is because Lincoln Riley and the Sooners would be 6-2, maybe 5-3 if Williams wasn't on the team.
Yeah, I know, but he'll never say anything positive about Caleb Williams, and it is the oddest thing ever, and I just don't get it.
And on that great play, he gave Kennedy Brooks credit.
I know. Yeah.
And so, well, now Kennedy had something to do with that too.
You know, he won't give
Kennedy Brooks was sitting there thinking, "What are you doing, guy?" You know.
Well, Kennedy was trying to hold it, and he finally looked up and saw it, and he took it away. The question here from Russ that I was going to answer, and then he came back in, thankfully, was the Big 12 protecting Oklahoma on that play? So I didn't think it was legal either, Russ, but how it was explained, it was a legal play since it was behind the line of scrimmage. That it was a legal forward handoff. So that was the explanation, because when they were reviewing it, I told Heather, I said, I think it was a great play, but I don't think it's legal.
Yeah.
It was legal by the rules. So
imagine the rule book didn't have anything in there about that. They probably were thinking, what the hell is this? I've never seen this before.
Yeah. It was strange. And like I said, thank God it was legal, or we would have lost. So, okay. So the forward progress thing, the problem is the referee has to blow forward progress dead. So yes, if the whistle would have blown, but they didn't do that. So therefore the play was legal. I mean, that was forward progress stopped. I don't know. I mean,
hey, I got one other thing before I forget about Rattler. I see here where Russ got the Jordan logo. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
It reminded me of something.
Okay.
Rattler's over there on the sidelines, and did you notice he has a ball cap on?
Yep.
But it doesn't have anything OU on the ball cap.
Yeah.
You ever seen that before?
No, I have not.
He had the Jordan logo. That's all that was on the cap. The cap was white. It had the Jumpman logo, which you have to wear on the sidelines if you're an OU player, because that's their sponsor.
Right.
But I've never seen anyone on the OU sideline has a cap on that doesn't have the OU logo on it.
I haven't either. Now, I will say this. I thought Spencer acted fine on the.
He did.
I don't have any problem with him. And for the fourth time out of 8 games, I was not sure what quarterback would start the second half in an OU game this year.
No, because bottom line is, in lots and all this too, Williams was not very good.
So. He was awful in the first half. Second half, he was better for sure.
He threw the ball better.
Yeah.
He's missing wide open receivers. He's struggling, but he is a true freshman.
Yes.
He's going to struggle. Riley knows that. And that's another, but Lincoln's going to have to just realize that this is his team now and not Rattler's. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes down there. Lincoln Riley knows a hell of a lot more about what's going on in Oklahoma than I do. And I trust.
Final comment on this one. And again, I'm with you, Russ. Like, was his forward progress stopped? Maybe. Absolutely. But they didn't call it. They didn't blow the whistle. So everything was on the up and up. But the one thing about it, the Big 12 is not protecting Oklahoma this year or ever again. So
who's this here?
I don't know. This is very nice. Samo Hates Baker says, Papa Dude, your son is my hero. Glad I made it. How about that? Thank you very much. I did not know that.
You don't know who that is?
I do know who this is relative to the fact that we see this person pop up on our feeds every once in a while, but he or she always has a funny name. So we never really know who it is.
All right.
But, I've never seen he or she, whoever you might be, on the show here. So I'm glad you're here with us, and I hope we entertain you.
You missed the best part. You missed the best parts. Only thing.
Yeah, you might rewind. We had a little rant, but let's move on because that's. Listen.
Well, Aaron, some people are probably disappointed that I didn't rant more than I did. I've had 2 days to get over it, and I was by myself Saturday because Sandy does not watch OU games with me because she's smart and she does not to get it. So anyway. At halftime, with my heartburn condition I have now, I can't really drink much anymore. But I'm going through thinking, what in the hell am I going to find to drink because I'm going to get so drunk tonight that I won't be able to get out of bed for 4 days.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to drink. I found some vodka. I thought maybe that might work, but that's how
Well,
bad it is.
it's funny, guys. He called me at the half. He said, "Hey, we're going live if they lose."
Oh yeah, that's right.
I said, "All right, that's fine." This you guys never know when we're live. I don't know how this works. Magic would probably know better than me, but I believe if you subscribe on our YouTube page, you do get alerted. I believe that's what Magic has told me. So you might try to subscribe to us on YouTube. You might already, and maybe you don't get alerted.
Or even Facebook. Facebook, you get a notification too.
Yeah, you also get a notification on Facebook as well. So you could maybe try that. I don't know. I don't subscribe to us. I try not to know when we're live. So yeah, Russ, I was kind of rooting. Russ says that would have been awesome content. I was kind of rooting for us to lose for a second. That would have been
we'd had to bleep out most of it.
Yeah.
It would have not been good.
All right, we got to move on. There were some other things to talk about. Cincinnati, they kind of look like us for a little bit of this. They go to Navy and they win 27-20. This was not impressive, but not a whole lot to say. They got the win. I watched a lot of this one. Alabama wins 52-24 over Tennessee. They did not look good for a lot of this game. They pulled away late to make this a blowout. Let's see if you agree with this comment or not. Okay. I think Georgia is a 7.5-point favorite over Alabama right now.
Maybe even more.
I think they're going to beat them.
I do too. Alabama defensively is not very good.
They're not, and Georgia is. And I think some teams have kind of figured out how to slow down. Their freshman quarterback at Alabama, he didn't look very good in this game for a long time. So I kind of think Georgia, this is their year. I don't think Alabama's great. Let's move on. Ohio State.
That was once 31-24, wasn't it?
Oh, it was 31-24, and Tennessee had the ball a couple times down 7 with a chance to tie it and couldn't. And Russ, I'm so sorry. If you bet Tennessee plus 25, God,
you got to be sick.
Terrible loss.
You got to be sick.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was a great bet.
It was a great bet, and they should have covered it. Let's move on, though. Ohio State, this is the team, I think, that's starting to find their groove. I would bet anything they're going to be in the college football playoff. They win 54-7. They've looked really impressive since that loss to Oregon. About Michigan, they win, and they set up the game against Michigan State this weekend. Both teams undefeated. 33-7, Michigan over Northwestern. That's got to be the game of the week, right? Michigan State coming up.
Oh, it definitely is. And how are you going to pick that one?
That's going to be tough.
That's pretty close. I think Michigan's a 4.5-point favorite. I think that's pretty high.
Yeah.
Going in there. Two teams so similar. We'll talk about it more on Thursday, but good win for Michigan. That's a game they could have been looking ahead, and they took care of business. Pretty impressed with them.
Yes. I think they just keep on churning out victory after victory. Got the toughest games left on their schedule, but they've passed a couple of tricky tests. So we'll see if they can do another one. Very similar teams, Michigan State. Mm-hmm. How about this one? How wild was that Penn State game? In 9 overtimes, Illinois upsets Penn State 20-18. Shocking, obviously. I don't have to ask you, were you shocked by this? Yes, you were. But the question coming out of this, what do you think of the new overtime system?
Stupid.
Agree.
I don't know why you monkey with something that's pretty good. And then last year, this was even better. After the second overtime, then when you score a touchdown, you got to go for 2.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's what they need to do instead of to sit there and go for 2 every time. That's going to be changed. That'll be changed after this game. Can you imagine going 7 times trying to get a 2-point conversion and finally well, I guess they both did one other time there.
Now, I want to be clear. Penn State fans, if you are blaming the new overtime system on this loss.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Get a life, because that is, you lost because you are a joke. I mean, they had 100 chances to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
But the lesson here, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
To me, and there's no love lost between me and the NFL. I don't like the NFL. I think their overtime rule is the dumbest, stupidest thing I've ever heard, because you play 60 minutes, the game's tied, you flip a coin to see who gets the ball first. If you go down and score a touchdown, the game is over, and the other team that's played their ass off for 60 minutes doesn't even get a chance.
Yeah.
That is not fair.
No.
Not fair at all.
No.
Each team should at least get a chance. I love the college overtime rule before. I've been at some games. That's the most exciting thing.
Yep.
It's just really good. I heard Bob Stoops talking about it. He thinks they ought to start on the 40 instead of the 25.
I agree.
And that might make more sense.
Yep.
The more I think about it. But yeah, this was not good. Even though I watched every single one of them, I'll say that.
Well, I mean, it's not like this wasn't exciting. I mean, it was exciting, but this isn't how you decide a game. It's just not. I agree. First of all, the college overtime is great. Before this change, it's great. I love it. But I agree with Bob. Start at the 40. That way, it's not an automatic field goal if you don't get any yards. Because how it is now, 25. At least you've got it. It's not that it's automatic you're going to make it, but you've got a pretty solid attempt. You start at the 40, and you run 3 plays and don't get any yards. Well, you either have to go for it or kick like a 60-yard field goal. I'm with Stoops. Move back to the 40 and take it back to where it was, where there isn't this 2-point conversion bullshit. I mean, this was dumb. I'm sorry. And the other point was like, well, we want to shorten the game. It went 9 overtimes. You didn't do that.
The first 9 overtime in history.
Yeah, so I agree. That's definitely gonna get changed. All right, we went long on OU, so we'll kind of wrap this up a little bit quicker here. But this one we do have to talk about a little bit in depth. 24-21, Iowa State beats Oklahoma State here. It was a game like we thought, just a slugfest, close game, going to go down kind of that typical Iowa State game. It's going to be 24-21. Do they make the field goal or the other team makes the field goal? Last week it was Iowa State. Listen, Mike Gundy, he's got to grow some balls at some point. I mean, my God. 4th and 1, the game's tied. You're on like the Iowa State 17 and you kick a field goal. I mean, he just never plays aggressive in these big games. It gets him beat.
Yeah. When you're on the road, you got to go for it. You just have to.
Yeah.
That was a great football game, though.
It was.
I enjoyed it mainly because I got it right. But I hate Oklahoma State. But I thought they played good. I really did. They proved a lot again to me. They're tough. And Iowa State just did what they had to do to win. They played extremely well. What a game. That was a really, really good game. And how many times have you seen a team that's a 7-point favorite and wins and the fans storm the field like they beat a big underdog, and they were fair? I thought that was pretty good, but I would have stormed the field too. That was a tremendous game. It really was.
You saying he ain't a man? He's 40. That's the great.
Well, it's questionable.
Iowa State storming the field was hilarious, like you said. Yeah.
Hey, they got the best fans. They got tremendous fans. They sell that place out, and they've not been very good over the years. I mean, they got good fans.
They are really good fans for sure. I was happy to see Iowa State win. Anytime Oklahoma State loses, it makes me happy. And we still got to play both of them. And
Baylor.
We're going to get a lot better. All right, Oregon, I thought they were impressive here. They pulled off a 34-31 win. I didn't think UCLA played bad either. I thought this was a really good game between two pretty decent teams. So hats off to Oregon there. Can they kind of I'm not gonna ask you that because I got something else I'm gonna bring up here at the last. So I'm just gonna go on and I'll save that question I was gonna ask. LSU, we kind of debated what they would do. They didn't play very well in this game. Ole Miss wins 31-17. LSU, they're now 4-4. What do you think? Maybe 1 or 2 more wins for them. They look done to me.
Well, I think so too, and they deserve to.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know why you fire the coach in the middle of the year. Why you don't wait?
Yeah.
Unless there is some allegations we don't know about. So there might be some stuff going on down there. I thought that was a really good win for Mississippi, though.
Yep.
And they got a big one this week. So
yeah, they go to Auburn. And definitely one we'll be talking about soon on the Thursday show. Notre Dame, they kind of just workmanlike, took care of business, 31-16. This was never really in doubt. I'm not even going to say a big win for Notre Dame, but a nice, smooth, easy victory for Notre Dame. Wake Forest puts up 70, gives up 56, but puts up 70 in a win against Army. So Wake Forest stays undefeated.
I wonder I wonder if Army has ever played a game where they scored 56 points and lost.
I bet they haven't.
I bet they haven't either.
That game was back and forth. They were going on when we were playing, and it was just
Yeah.
they come in every 5 seconds with highlights
Yeah.
of team scoring. Wake Forest pretty darn good offensively.
Offensively, they are.
But defensively, yeah, they're really bad. A&M, they stomped South Carolina 44-14. Funny, I said, I'm going to go South Carolina over 10.5 in this game. They were shut out until like 6 minutes left in the game, and they scored 14 points. So,
Oh, you got that one by luck.
listen, that was my week, though. Even when I was looking like I was going to be wrong in games, I'd get them right with those team totals. So I felt great.
Do you realize, I was writing an article today
Mhm.
on the conferences and stuff. If A&M, they've lost 2 conference games. Had they beat Mississippi State, they'd be in the running to knock Alabama out of the playoffs
They would.
because they beat them head to head. They got to be kicking themselves. Of course, you know what? This is the way they are. Had they been maybe undefeated going into that game against Alabama, they'd have choked and got beat.
Oh, they would have got beat.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. They won that game because Alabama wasn't ready to play,
Right,
and they
right.
got them in the hole, and then they were able to make it a place
Yeah.
late to win. But yeah, they would have lost if
Yeah,
it would
they
have
would've
been
lost.
something. Yeah, well, for the conference, I should say.
Yeah.
31-30. How about this? North Carolina State. My God.
Yeah, that wasn't a good effort by them.
No,
can't give up-
Miami is terrible. And
Yeah, you can't give up 31 to them.
no, down there and lost. You should be embarrassed. That was a terrible loss for North Carolina State. San Diego State wins 20-14. I thought that was a really tough game to go to
It
Air
was.
Force, and they won. I still don't think they're great, but that was
No.
a gritty win, I thought.
Had him down 20-0.
Yeah, they jumped out on them, and then they
Yeah.
were just held on there at the end.
You got Fresno State this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? They've got the 3 tough teams in the Mountain West: Fresno, Nevada, and Boise, which is
Yep.
not as good as usual. But they got all 3 of them in San Diego.
Yep.
They could run the table. They could. This is a huge one this week.
They definitely could run the table. One team that's you talk about losses that kicking themselves. Right now, Pittsburgh's 6-1. They beat
Yes.
Clemson 27-17 in a game that in the second half they just beat their ass. They lost to Western Michigan, second game
Yeah.
of the year. If not, they would be 7-0.
That's right. And in the ACC, they could have gone undefeated.
They could have. Yeah.
Because there's
Clemson-
nobody any good.
Clemson's bad. They're bad.
Yeah.
They're a bad football team.
You know what? You have to wonder now, if they don't make a quarterback change, it must be because they don't have anybody.
Well, they did pull the quarterback in this game, so we'll see
They
if
did.
the new guy starts, but he didn't do much better. It's
It's
a bad
bad.
deal.
And it just shows you when you don't have a quarterback, you're not any good.
yeah,
You know,
yep.
you got to have one.
Russ says the UTSA coach already getting called by Texas Tech. Yeah, if you missed it, Texas Tech fired Matt Wells today, so they'll come to Norman with a new coach. Sonny Cumbie will take over, former quarterback for Texas Tech, and obviously offensive coordinator there. But yeah, to UTSA, I thought they might lose this when they go to Louisiana Tech. They win 45-16. You talk about teams that could run the table.
They have a
UTSA
great-
is now 8-0. I've looked at their schedule. It ain't hard. They got a
They
shot.
got UTEP next. UTEP's pretty good,
Yep.
and it's at UTEP. That's their big one. Then they've got to play UAB, and that's in San Antonio. And UAB is not as good as usual.
Yep.
Then they would have to go through the conference championship game, and Marshall's over on the other side that they would probably have to play. They're not as good as usual, so they got a great chance. And by the way, Bozo the Clown could come in as a coach at Texas Tech and score 40 on Oklahoma this week.
well, there you go. All right. So
who's coaching them?
yeah, well, Sonny Cumbie, he's probably going to throw it 90 times.
I would.
I would. There's no doubt. All right, let's go to.
Why would you not?
Well, I know. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Okay.
Let's go to the last one. Wisconsin 30, Purdue 13. You were
Mm-hmm.
making fun of Purdue and Wisconsin. They just smoked them. Purdue. What? I mean, Iowa lost to Purdue. What a joke.
It is. And I tell you what, I was looking at Iowa's schedule. I don't know if they'll win another game.
Well, they have the type of schedule they could win out or they could lose all of them.
Well, they go to Wisconsin this week, and Wisconsin's playing better,
Yep.
and Iowa can't score.
No.
So that's liable to end up 13-10. They got to go to Minnesota. Minnesota's playing great.
Yes, they are.
I wouldn't bet a nickel on them going to Nebraska. That's
No.
not going to be easy.
Mm-mm.
And that's 3 of their games left. I don't. They may have a clunker in there somewhere against somebody. Oh, I think because that other side is so bad. The
Yeah.
other side of the Big Ten, but they're going to struggle to win the division.
They've got their other game is Illinois.
Okay.
Illinois just went to Penn State and won, so we'll see.
Yeah.
See what
And
happens.
when you can't score, you're vulnerable against anybody.
That's right. Yep.
You may have Indiana. No, they already beat them.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. They can't score, and every game's going to be close. So
yeah, and there you go. Somebody's bet. They said that Minnesota bet hit. Thanks, Papa Dude. Yeah, Minnesota easy.
Yeah, I've liked them all along.
Yeah. They're another one. They lost a game. God, who was it that beat them? It's like, how in the hell did you lose that game? Can't remember. They lost Ohio State, and then they lost a terrible team.
Oh, Bowling Green.
Bowling Green. That's right.
Yeah, they would be 6-1. They'd be probably number 4.
Yeah.
Come to the AP.
Russ says, let's do another hour. No, we're about done here, Russ. But
I'd like to do another hour, Russ.
We will finish up on this. Right now, you go to the website. By the way, this is a great website because of Papa Dude. He puts out a ton of articles every week. So if you like Papa Dude, you can go and read his thoughts as well. Right now, racingdudes.com/sports is how you get there. Or you could just go to racingdudes.com and then click on other sports. And then there all the articles will be. Right now, you see the 3 articles he's got up on the college. The kind of college wrap up for the week, and then you could go over here, and then there's the New Orleans and Seattle article as well. I'm going to click on this one here. It's how we see it after week 8 of college football. Scroll down. We did this last week. We'll do it again. Down at the bottom, Papa Dude's got his percent chances that these teams are going to make the college football playoff. Let me zoom in on this a little bit for you guys. I think I did it too much there. There we go. Now you can kind of see it a little bit better. You got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You got 13 teams that you kind of think have a shot here. Georgia at 80%. I still think they're like 95%.
Well, you're probably right. And as I said last week, I've seen so many crazy ass things happen that we didn't think was going to happen, that I'm not going to go all the way yet. This is stupid to say. They could lose this week at Florida in that rivalry game. It's kind of a nutty game. Do you realize, I saw this today, they're 14-point favorites, and they've been so much more favored over some of these other teams that are better than Florida, in my opinion. So the rivalry game factor is probably in that. If they win that, I'll jump them up to 90% probably, because they got nothing left after this game. They got to go to Tennessee, but they'll take care of that. So,
yeah, I just don't listen. The Florida game is tricky for them. That's like OU Texas.
It is.
Georgia, Florida. That's a weird game.
Mm-hmm.
They've had trouble in the past with them, so that's kind of interesting. If they win this one, which I fully expect they will, if they do, it's smooth sailing all the way to Alabama in the championship game. And again, that's a game.
The only thing that could happen in a championship game is if Alabama beat them like 50-0 or something.
Right.
Just blew them out.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It's 100% if they beat Florida. I really agree with
you're probably right
with Russ on that. Mark, to Mark's question or not question, comment. I don't know what the spread is on the Kansas game next week, but take the opponent. OU was their Super Bowl this year. I agree. Their opponent's Oklahoma State. I have not looked at the spread yet. It's at Oklahoma State. I bet they get beat by 45.
And Vegas doesn't have any respect for Oklahoma State, so that line's liable to be 22, 23, 24 points.
Before we get off here, I will look up that line. I haven't looked ahead quite yet, Adam. I do that on Tuesdays, so we'll get to it. Okay, Cincinnati 65% chance. I'm with you. I think they're right there if they win out.
I really believe if they win out, they're in.
They're in, and here's the main reason: you got Alabama 40%. I have no problem with that, by the way, but I think the likelihood of Georgia beating Alabama is getting greater and greater every week. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, Cincinnati is a lock to get in my opinion.
Yeah, here's what could happen to knock them out. Me and you have talked about this. If Alabama beats Georgia and it's close, both of them are in, no question.
Yeah.
If Ohio State goes through the Big Ten and wins out, they're going to have to beat a lot of really good teams to do it. It's going to bump them way up. And if somehow Oklahoma goes undefeated, they will win out over Cincinnati just because of who they are.
No doubt. No doubt about that.
And it ain't right. It's not right. And I'll be the first to say it. It's not right. Because Oklahoma would go in as a number 4 and Georgia would beat them 400-0. And I don't want to see that again. So that's the only way I see. If Cincinnati runs the table, that's the only way I see them not making it.
And thank you for this, Russ. Oklahoma State minus 30.5. That's the line right now. I'll take Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, yeah.
Unless, Dennis, better late than never.
Here's the deal, though. Oklahoma State might be flat too.
Yeah, but it's at home. I think they'll kill them.
Oh, I'd take them too. No doubt.
Well, listen, we'll talk about that a little bit later. We mentioned Ohio State, or at least I did. I thought their playoff chances just keep going up and up. 35% now.
The reason I have them a little bit low is because of the Cincinnati factor. And also, they're going to have to beat maybe an undefeated Michigan team or Michigan State, whichever one wins that game. And, well, they're going to have to beat them both. They're both really good teams. And then you're going to have to win they probably won't have any trouble in the Big Ten championship game. But they've got some toughies left. And don't forget, they're running up these scores against shitty teams.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet. We'll find out a lot about them this week. Penn State is not very good, but you know what? They'll play awful hard.
I'll tell you what, Ohio State, I know they're playing shitty teams. I've seen, not OU of this year, obviously, but I've seen OU lose a game early and start racking up these kind of wins and finish strong. And I've seen OSU do it too. So being Ohio State. So I'm a big believer in them.
Oh, I'm high on them. No
Mark says Georgia and Cincy can go undefeated, and then you're looking at a bunch of 2-loss teams. That's just possible that could happen because the Big Ten could definitely beat up on each other here.
I don't think a 2 losses coming out of the Big Ten.
I don't either. I think one of them is going to survive with just 1 loss. So,
and you got another one. I don't. We'll get to that here in just a minute.
All right, let's go. I'm trying to read these comments and do this. Michigan and Oklahoma at 30%. I
jumped Michigan up 5%. I dropped Oklahoma down 10%.
Yeah.
Michigan, if they beat Michigan State, that's why I moved them up. I kind of think they're going to. You got to bring them up in there at least 30% because then, if they can go to Penn State and beat them, then it comes down to them in Ohio State. Who knows? It's at Michigan. So, that's my thinking. Oklahoma's too damn high.
Well, I'll say this. And the comment says Oklahoma at 5. Listen to your heart, Papa Dude. Their schedule is not hard. If OU can somehow just get it together halfway, they could go undefeated.
They're going to have to play so much better than what they're playing, though.
Well, they're going to have to, obviously. And I'm not saying they're going to. And maybe you do have them a little high, but because of their schedule, they're still in it. And they're in it.
And they're undefeated. So you got to keep them up there.
Yeah, you do. Notre Dame at 20%. I think that's good. You said it last week. You think they'll just quietly under the radar keep climbing?
That's a 1-loss team. I don't think they're going to lose again.
Yep.
So that would be one that let Mark's theory out about a bunch of 2-loss teams. I don't see them. By the way, this is my line of the week. You ready for this?
Yes.
Where'd it go? I got 50 million things written down here. North Carolina plays Notre Dame this week. Okay. Notre Dame 3.5-point favorite. You kidding me?
Is the game at North Carolina?
No.
Oh, it's in South Bend?
Yes.
Oh, come on. They'll kill them.
They'll beat the shit out of them. That's my lock of the week. I tell you that right now.
Yeah. Okay, well there we go. Well, Notre Dame at 20% if they can win. We'll see if they lock. We'll see if that lock comes in. We'll see if you stick by that on Thursday.
Well, it's a lot between now and Thursday.
Michigan State 15%. Yeah, exactly. Michigan State 15%. They've got all the big games ahead of them, just like Michigan, just like Ohio State. Same boat. Oregon, Pac-12 teams kind of maybe back into that big win. If they can win out, they've got a shot.
Well, that would be another one-loss team. See,
right? Yep, that have a shot. SMU. Listen, if they beat Cincinnati.
Well, that's different. I don't think they're going to, though.
No, I don't either. But if you have to put them on here because they're undefeated and they got the shot to beat Cincinnati. Right. Iowa at 5%. Yeah. I mean, if they win out, they could.
That's why I put them on there. But
yeah. They're mathematically still alive.
Yeah,
for sure.
And if they won out, that means they would beat a very, very good team for the Big Ten championship. So
yeah, I mean, they're mathematically still alive. They went out, they're in it. I mean, maybe that's a 1% chance, not a 5% chance, but they do have to be on the list. Wake Forest, San Diego State, I think you got about right.
Yeah.
So,
Wake Forest isn't going undefeated.
Well, no, they're not, but they're undefeated. So you have to keep them on the list until they get beat. They're in a power conference and they're undefeated. And then San Diego State would be a big time long shot, but they're there. They're undefeated, and maybe if absolute chaos happened, maybe they can somehow get in. All right, gosh, I had a lot of comments here. Yeah, Papa Dude over here sponsoring Post-it notes. Yeah, you got them all wrote down on Post-it.
Okay, come on. You ought to see this desk.
What's that?
You ought to see this desk.
I don't know if I want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to start using Post-it notes. Hey, look at this. I have one too. I've got it right on the desk. Heather, it's my, I've got my annual doctor visit, and I'll forget it.
I don't go to the doctor. I don't go to the doctor. I'm afraid they'll find something wrong with me, so I don't go.
Yeah, how about this? We'll end it. We'll end it with this. When's the last time you went to the doctor?
Oh boy, let's see. I went to a chiropractor about.
That doesn't count. Nope, that doesn't count.
20 years ago, probably. Don't jinx me.
For real, you haven't been to a doctor in 20 years.
I'm going to back off of that. I'm about 10. About
10 years? Okay.
Yeah.
10 years. Yeah.
I was stressed and went and got some.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. I think that may have been your midlife crisis. I think.
No, that was 20 years ago.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. You go to a doctor and you tell them you're stressed, they'll give you anything. They don't.
Well, I know. I'm going to listen. It's Friday. I'm going to tell him I'm really stressed.
I still got some of those pills too. I never did take them all.
Never took them, huh?
No, they were good.
Yeah.
I take one every once in a while if I'm having trouble sleeping.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen.
Let's don't talk about it because I'm afraid any day, fall apart. You know.
I mean, if we want to talk about the reality of life, we could do that. I don't really want to.
I'm trying to put that out as long as I can. Put that out as long as I can.
No, I mean, right. Aren't we all?
We're always in the show on something stupid, and we're keeping with tradition.
Yep.
Damn, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well,
I'm afraid. Okay, I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
I will be the worst patient ever.
Yeah.
I've been in the hospital one time. Remember when I broke my arm?
Yep.
And I was supposed to spend the night. And anyway, well, first of all, we got time for this? 3 minutes.
Well, I mean, we're only 24 minutes over, but let's talk about the time.
Well, what the hell's 26? So
go ahead.
Anyway, so the surgery, I just destroyed my elbow. Destroyed it. So the surgery was supposed to be at 11, and it was supposed to last 2 hours. So I remember when I came to, there was a clock, and it was like 4:30. And I'm kind of groggy, and I'm thinking, what, the 4:30? Something went wrong. Am I still alive? I'm in heaven and hell. Where the hell am I? So anyway, he goes, well, we had some problems. Everything seems to be all right. But the doctor says maybe you ought to stay tonight, and then you go home in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
because you might be in real pain.
Yep.
I said, okay. I'm groggy. See, I don't really know. So they get me up to the room, and I get in there. And of course, you wouldn't know. You never been to the hospital. You got, huh?
I have.
Really?
Well, I didn't stay overnight, but I've been in the hospital. Yeah.
Oh, well. They put you in these damn gowns, and your ass is hanging out of them, and
Yes.
everything. See, and I had my arm; it was strapped up, kind of like this, and I
Yeah.
was so uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
I was in some pain. And over on the other side of me, there was a guy who had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And there was like 10 people in the room. Okay. And you remember the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yep.
Well, that was on TV. I remember that. Anyway, he's hooting and hollering and making all these sounds, and I'm in pain, and I don't feel that bad anyway. And I turned to your mother and I said, get my ass out of here right now. Because the guy told me, he said, the doctor said you ought to stay, but it's up to you whether you do or not. I said, get my ass out of here right now. I can't stand another minute of it. It was snowing outside too.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I was going to kind of leave because I needed to get home. I said, yeah, I understand that. I said, get my ass out of here. So the nurse was getting kind of pissed off at me. So anyway, she comes in there and I said, I want my ass out of here, and I want my ass out of here now. I can go home. You can't make me stay here. She said, listen here, buddy. I said, no. I'm not listening to your crap. I said, what I have to do. She said, you got to get up and go to the bathroom. I said, well, get my ass up. And then she said, and then you got to eat something. I said, get something up here. What are you waiting on? So I said, is that all I got to do? Yeah. So I did and everything. I remember I ate some kind of shitty pudding. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Pudding or something. And she goes, you're going to be in so damn much pain when you get home. And I said, I don't really give a shit. I'm going to be a lot more comfortable at home than I am here. And you know what? I went home and I wasn't in any pain. Because I took like 7 of those pain pills and I slept like a baby.
I remember when you did this.
Oh, yeah.
I was in high school.
Probably.
I was. And my brother, I was a senior in high school. And
Yep.
my brother was working at the store. You were at the sporting goods store.
Yep.
And what he did, guys, there was kind of a pothole when you walked to go get the mail. The mail, there was like a station, and there's like 8 different people that worked or that had places at this shopping center. That's where they get the mail.
Where you get the mail at a strip mall.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I was trying to think of strip mall.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a pothole, and he fell. He stepped in it, and and you said it. You tore the shit out of that elbow.
Well, I went down, and there's a McDonald's across the street.
Yeah.
And my arm is dangling. It's just freaking dangling, like it's hung by a string.
Yeah.
So I grabbed it up like that, and I about pissed my pants when I did it. It hurt so bad. But the first thing I did was I looked across the street to see if anybody saw me fall down.
Well, like I said, you could see if you could see like the setup, you could see how it could happen. Because when you turned because I've stepped in it too many times. I've gotten mail there a million times. Worked there forever, and you can fall. It can happen.
But,
so I wasn't surprised, but I'll never forget that day.
What was funny was I was by myself.
Yeah.
At the store because your mom had went home to eat. So I go in there and I lock the door because I'm dying. I'm white as a sheet. I'm probably going into shock. And anyway, my arm is, I'm having to hold my because it went boing. So I called her and I said, I just broke my arm. She goes, how do you know? I said, well,
that sounds like my mom. Yeah.
I said, come out here and I'll show you.
How do you know?
Well,
you called and you said, hey, I just broke my arm. She goes, well, how do you know?
Well, she goes, well, can I finish eating? And I said, yeah, I got the door locked. It's be all right if I don't pass out.
Well,
so she comes out here because, she's concerned and all that. And so she looks at it and she goes, yep, I think it's broke.
They Thank you,
And
doctor. Drive me to the hospital
yeah,
now.
and the thing is, we got a hospital in Aurora, but they don't set arms. They don't mess with You ever heard of a hospital that doesn't mess with broken bones?
If
And
you go to the hospital in Aurora with a broken arm, you'll be dead in an hour. Trust me. So
always Springfield, and anyway.
no, it's funny though. I remember when that happened because I was at school and I had to come into work after school.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I'm like, where the hell's mom and dad? And it was my brother there. And he's like acting weird. He's like, you gotta sit down for this one. I'm like, I thought one of you had died.
Yeah,
the way he was acting.
Like him to be that way, yeah.
But I think what it was, he came out there and he saw it and he was like freaked out.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen him like this. It's bad. And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, oh, he just broke his arm. I was like, I don't give a shit that he broke his arm. He had a heart attack or something, And I mean,
well, I tell you one more story. This is when I found out why people do drugs. So I get up there to the hospital and they go, we're going to give you some morphine, because what they were going to try to do was put it back into place, and that was going to hurt really bad. So they gave you some morphine. Wow. I highly recommend that. Anytime you can get a hold of some of that. So that's fantastic stuff.
That's to round this all up. Let's round this all up.
Yeah, it was good.
I went to the emergency. This will tell you the worst pain in the world is a kidney stone. I went to the emergency room finally.
This is awesome.
I thought I had cancer. Like I really thought, because I was, so I had to sign. I was like, well, I've got cancer and I'm gonna die, and that's just it's been a good life, And they gave me all kinds of stuff, and it didn't touch the pain of the kidney stone.
Did they give you morphine?
I don't know that they gave me that. Actually, no, I don't think they did. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, man, what a story. I didn't forget about the arm, but we hadn't talked about that in a long time. So
well, I'll tell you, you've learned a lot since that kidney stone. That tells me that had to be some excruciating pain, because you have done exactly what they told you to do.
I've done it plus more. They said you need to drink 4 of these a day. I drink 8. It ain't happening again, folks.
This guy used to be able to go to the OU game, not have to go to the bathroom. Now he goes about 3 times.
Yes. I'm going to tell you something. If you never listen, all you people that are still here, and everybody stayed.
And why? I don't know. Maybe we need to do a comedy show. It might be better.
I'm all for it. But I'm telling you, if you never listen to me about anything before or after, listen to this. Do whatever you can to get one of those. Okay? Do whatever you can to prevent that from happening. And Russ, I'm with you. It's like that will change. If you never get a kidney stone, give me the
I remember one more time. I remember when your grandfather got one, your granddad got one.
He
was mowing the yard. And I don't even know why. I was not at home anymore. I don't even know why I was over there. And he came in the house, and you're absolutely right. He said, "Get me to the hospital. I'm dying."
Yeah.
And he had the pain was so bad.
Well, I don't want to be like graphic, but I've been hurting for 2 or 3 days, and I just thought I pulled a muscle or something. And I went to the bathroom, and it was just bright red. Yeah. So what do you do when you see, pee and blood?
You think you're dying. You got cancer.
What's the first thing that comes up? You've got cancer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was 4th of July. And I was like, well, last 4th of July, because I'm done. This is over. Went to the doctor, and obviously they diagnosed kidney stone. But anyway, there you go.
Hey, Michael, is this the Michael I know?
Story time with the coach is worth it.
Michael Healy, is this you? That's one of my old players, I think, unless you know a Michael Healy.
I do not know a Michael Healy.
Michael, good to hear from you, bud, if that's you.
Russ, are you talking to me or Papa Dude there? My kidney stone was last year. Your arm was what? Probably 2002. You would have broken in 2002.
My arm?
Yeah.
I was thinking it was 2001.
Okay, it could have been. I was a senior. So that would have been 01 or 02, depending on the year. So
Yeah.
it was 0-1 because it's right before Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Michael Healy is one of your former players. So
Oh, great kid.
Michael, you tuned in just in time to hear about kidney stones and broken arms. So welcome to the Dudes Who Bet Sports.
Well, I had Michael for 2 years in class, so he's heard a lot of this before. So.
Okay. Oh God, he's heard way more than
Hey, this guy right here is going to be something. He's one of the smartest kids I ever said. Mike, great to see you, buddy.
Wait a second. Is Michael Healy the one you're saying going to Harvard maybe or something?
Yeah, he was going. Yeah.
Yeah, you told me, Michael. He's told me about you.
Yeah. Proud of him. Great guy.
That's awesome. I could not touch that. So,
yeah, Mike, we need to get together and talk, bud.
All right. Well, there you go. This is the shout out show. I shouted out a friend of mine. Now you're shouting out a friend of yours. So, he said, Michael, you're gonna have to start a podcast. Guys, this has been the most fun I've ever had on a show. I really believe that. I absolutely love the people that come in here to watch this show.
Oh, yeah.
I say it every week. I can't thank you guys enough for supporting the show. I'm glad you like it. I hope we can keep entertaining like this. Listen, we're gonna finish it, but to end it, I am gonna play Magic's video that he made to start the show for people who may have missed it. I'll play it as like our outro music, guys. So make sure to look for that. Magic added something. Pay attention to the very end of this video. Magic added a little something special. So, guys, we're going to sign off. Seahawks are ahead, Papa Dude. So that bet's looking good so far.
All right.
Any closing thoughts?
No, I think we talked enough. Mike, send me a Facebook request. I'd send you one, but I don't know how.
All right, folks. We're going to get out of here. Thank you again so much, everybody. We'll see you right back here Thursday at noon Central Time. We'll be back talking about all the games. And, of course, you can always find us, the podcast version, on anywhere you find podcasts. We're there. So always make sure to check it out. If you can't watch us live, we're going to be right there. Or if you missed any of the show, you're going to be right there. So, all right, guys, we'll see you back here Thursday once again. Thanks so much. We're going to play this video, and then, like I say, we'll be out of here. So see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.